Q6 FSA. Today I'm going to go through how the three main areas of the Q6 FSA method regarding information management kind of link together. Those three areas are the Q6 universal content cubes, and the second one is the FSA structural architecture subject areas, and the third one is kind of what sits in the middle. It's the language and semantic translations of the business glossary. So we're going to focus on the healthcare demo that we basically done a little while ago, myself and John O'Gorman. And it's a little mini application with six tables. We've loaded it with data. We're going to focus on this particular structure here, which is the registry of clinical practitioners, and more importantly, we're going to focus on this column here, gender, which is one of those lookup values that can have all sorts of different abbreviations. It can be male, it can be M, it can be all sorts of things, and also has interesting language translations across various spoken languages as well. So we're going to demonstrate that. Okay, so this structural column here, the gender column, which is a character field, and this one, there's an ID next to that, which basically is its unique ID. It's that component ID. I'm just going to nip across now into the information architecture user, and this is the screen that we use to basically map a physical column name to its classification, and also we can additionally say the values in this particular field actually then want to also go into the Q6 cubes. So we've done that. So basically clicked on the Q6 status register here, and it's given us some configuration that we can do here. So what we're saying is, yes, we'd like to add it to the glossary. We're going to put it into the names and roles lexicon as a root definition, and there's various definitions we can put it in there if we actually know what it is. So if you know it's an abbreviation, we can put it straight into the abbreviations area. We're going to, we're not going to do an exact format. We're going to basically trim and upper the values so we can get either lowercase or capital case versions of male or female, basically ending up as the same entry. And we're basically specifying here that, as far as we're aware, this is actually English glossary items going in there. We could just choose what they are. So if this was coming from a system that has a Spanish or French or Swedish data in it, we could specify what that is. And the second one basically is saying, okay, we actually want now to add it to the Q6 factorial status. We want to also add it to the key store with that name. We only set one up. You could have many key stores, and that's what actually holds the localized value. So the fact register is almost like the enterprise value. The local value is here. We're saying this is actually a master source of it. We're applying the same rule in terms of trimming and uppering it as it goes in. We only want distinct values. And write back is something that basically says it would actually write back to the source system, but we haven't got that one activated. So that's a way of actually making kind of master data translate and then write back what the result is back to the source system. And it's activated, so we're ready to go with that. So we've basically used this now. So we've invoked a background process which loads up the Q6 registers. So it's gone away. This one's actually a local database on local set of tables on the database within here. So it's gone away. It's constructed some SQL, and it's basically lifted this information. And as it's lifted it, it's done all these transformations. It's put the data into the cubes, into the Q6 cubes, and it's put it into the glossary at the same time. So the result of that, we now go into the basic user. I'm just going to now show you the Q6 viewer. I'm going to look for a specific person. So I'm in the person registry. I've looked for this particular clinician here. So I'm going to click on him. Yes, and we found basically his name coming up in the particular record within the clinical registry. This is the register. This is the how we've then rebuilt that from our soft-coded FSA definition. So this isn't looking at the actual table itself. It's rebuilding it from all the entries that are in there. You can see in here. This is the physical structure. We have gender again. It's in the status registry. This is the value that came in. It doesn't necessarily have to be the value that ends up here. So in theory, we could actually do a translation and for example, if it comes in from a particular source as M, we can basically translate. We can record it locally as M, but translate it and link it to male. So I'm just going to click on that one. We're now traversing, and you can see here that we now found the male register value within the status register, and it's now popped up that effectively, okay, we now have linked glossary entries here. So, and there's an entry for an English and a Swedish translation. So there we go. So I'm just going to click on that. It will it will rebuild this. While I'm doing that, I'm going to go into the business architect view. The business architect effectively has the ability to add things manually. The business architect role, well, you can add it to any role. The business architect generally is who we would say would actually manage the business glossary. And as you can see, we have a number of things that have come in here from the upload mechanism. So, and this is the physical source. So we have from the patient table, we have values called M. And we have from the clinical registry male. We can then link them together and say actually M equals male in this particular circumstance. And we also have some Swedish translations here. So male is man, male's person is same as male person, and the plural is there. So as you can see, we can actually say whether it's an abbreviation or a root definition or some kind of variation or a plural form. And you see over the top here we have a number of ones in here. We can even deal with slangs and misspellings as well. You can add these in as well. So if you find a new category, you can add these in and make the glossary more functional. So we've added these four manually. So we've added some translations and then backfill basically what that meant and what that means in English. So going back into the basic user again, you can see we've clicked on more information about male. It said, okay, here we are. Here's the UK definition. This is where it came from. As you can see now, we have a scenario where the information architecture source component is now linking to the glossary entry, and the glossary entry also links to the content as well within Q6. So it all interconnects, and it's showing you that there is a direct Swedish translation there, and also there are some glossary links as well. So it's automatically picked up the fact that there was a plural form and a variation on that, and there's also an abbreviation. The abbreviation we can see here has actually come from a different physical column, so that's actually been loaded from the extract and gathering process, which is all automatic. Just have a look at this one. Viewer in a second. So if we want to sort of navigate around and actually find where do this traversal, because the Q6 viewers are effectively it's an infinite traversal mechanism. So we could look at this particular clinical registration for male. We could go back and say let's actually now look at the doctor. So now it's everything that's related to the doctor. Now we're starting to see some interventions here. So let's have a look at the interventions. So this one is a female. Okay, so let's look at another one. Another female, being unlucky here. And fourth unlucky, we get male. So if we click on M, you'll see it does pretty much exactly the same thing. So it's taking us back to the status register. We now basically have the patient as recorded in the gender table, which is now basically linked to a different glossary entry. That's something you need to rebuild, but as you can see, M basically is from here. M then basically relates to male. So you can go through linking all these things together. What this also means is that in theory you could build. I'll go back to here. At the moment, it's showing this hip knee replacement. It's showing this in UK speak, so all the values are effectively UK. So you got F, you got M male, and those sort of things there. You could actually instruct this to say, no, actually, what I want to do is automatically translate. So I want this to do exactly the same structure, but actually come out in Swedish, and that's the kind of level we're getting to in terms of national language translation here, because the business glossary then will instruct direct relationships with the English translation, and we'll basically get Swedish coming out instead of English. So it's quite a powerful way of actually linking together structure with content, with linguistics and natural language translation. So that's pretty much me done. Hope you enjoyed that, and we'll be back with some information security overview soon. Okay, bye.